Okay, hi guys, and thank you for joining the Chelsea Valentino show. Today I am here with Cherie, who is,
Hello.
who is the founder of Feather Touch by Cherie. Cherie's been in business for 15 years now, or you've been a beauty therapist for 15 years.
Yeah.
And originally you started off as a makeup artist, is that right?
Yes, so I left college when I was about 16, and my mum told me the only way she'd let me leave is if I enrolled in something.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up doing a television and makeup course that came down from Auckland to Wellington, and from there I worked for Cloud9, which I did a little bit of like film makeup for, and I obviously did like makeup on like bridals and stuff like that as well. And then I ended up getting in touch with a company called Body Effects,
Okay.
and they do like special effects makeup and face painting and body painting, and all of that kind of stuff, which was so cool. I ended up working with her for a year and getting a free apprenticeship
Yeah.
for her, and then from there I ended up learning beauty therapy, and that was just purely because I needed a full-time job, and I was working like 3 part-time jobs. Makeup, as you would know, is a lot of weekend work, so I needed like something to do during the week that could pay my bills.
Yeah.
And that's why a sort of beauty therapy kind of came hand in hand with makeup back then, so I decided to learn beauty therapy, and I done 2 years with Tech, and from there what did I do? I worked at a few salons, and then ended up once I kind of got to the top of managing a few of them, I needed to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I ended up having me and Hayden had a little baby, so I started working from home, and then after a few months we decided to open up my own salon, and yeah, from there it was probably about 2 years in, I started looking into cosmetic tattooing, and dragged Hayden, and at that time we had 2 little girls, all the way over to Sydney, and I got trained with Val over there, and I haven't looked back. I literally came back within like a year and a half. I shut down my hair and beauty salon, revamped as Feather Touch, and it's just changed my life. It's amazing. Like, I actually have a dream job. Like, I literally do. It's so good. And I know not many people get to find that in life, so I'm very, very blessed. But I wake up every day like excited for work, excited to see who I'm going to get in. Like, no one's got the same eyebrows at all. There's always a different job each day, even though, like, I have a lot of people that are like, oh my God, do you get bored of doing eyebrows every day? And I'm like, no, not at all. Like, everyone's faces are different, everyone's skin's different, like it's not, you're doing different work every day, even though you're doing eyebrows. And I do eyeliner and lips and stuff now too, which is really cool to kind of, change it up a wee bit as well. So no, it's amazing. And now I've got my own salon in Petone in Wellington, where we've been there Easter weekend, which is this weekend. It's been a year. And yeah, it's just been crazy. I've got an academy now as well. So like I was saying before, really shitty time to open an academy up, but here we are.
Well, it's one of those things that's, like you said, it's a bit of a gamble in business though, isn't it? Like, you just this would happen.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what it's been like my whole entire career though. It's like you just take risks all the time, and sometimes they work out really good and sometimes they don't, and that's just part of being in business, and you learn as you go. I don't think anyone could have predicted this virus to have happened, so I can't be too hard on myself about that. But yeah, we'll get through it. I mean, I've got some courses running at the end of the year anyway, which would be really cool. So
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what made you start a hair and beauty salon then? Because you're a beauty therapist, obviously a makeup artist.
Yep.
What made you into hair and beauty?
Well, initially it was only meant to be a beauty therapy salon, and then when I went out and viewed the premises, it was huge, and it was in a beautiful new suburb They had all brand new buildings around us, and they had no shops. So me moving into there was the only beauty salon around. So I thought, why not have hair as well? And I've worked in a few hair salons. It was like my first sort of part-time jobs I got after college. Was I worked for a hair salon for years, and picked up a lot of skills from there. They wanted me to do an apprenticeship with them, and I preferred the beauty side, so I kept on my beauty track. But it did help having, you know, that background knowledge with having a hair and beauty salon as well. Although it is very, very hard running a hair and beauty salon, or any like combination of treatments like that, where you're not, you know, you're not a hairdresser yourself. It is a lot harder because you're relying on hairdressers to run your salon. So unless you've got other really amazing hairdressers that work for you, then your whole hair side's never going to go well, you know. So I know I always knew my beauty side would be amazing because I was in control, I was in charge of that, I knew my shit. Whereas the other side was always a real struggle for me, like from the get-go. It was very, very hard. So it was a no-brainer for me to change to cosmetic tattooing once I could. And yeah, no, and I've always been artistic. So for me, even though I've done beauty therapy for years and years and years, I loved the creative side of beauty therapy. I think some girls prefer the spa side, you know, the massage and facials and stuff, whereas I was always into like nail art, makeup, spray tanning, you know, like visual, creative. Yeah, for sure. So cosmetic tattooing's definitely gone hand in hand with that, and obviously being a beauty therapist helps too with already having skin knowledge and everything behind you as well. So I was very fortunate, I think, going from learning cosmetic tattooing and already having my salon, because I already had a whole entire clientele waiting for me to come back from Australia and work on them.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's a lot harder. I think a lot of girls look on social media and they're like, I want to do cosmetic tattooing, and they've got no background whatsoever, no clientele sitting there. And it is a lot, it's not like you can't do it, but it is a lot harder to do it. And it's a lot harder to get your skill set up when you're coming straight out of training and you don't already have a clientele waiting for you. Where I was very fortunate that I had that. So as soon as I came back from Aussie, I had bookings galore. I spent the whole first year doing like everyone and anyone I could, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I fixed a lot of mistakes as well. But that's how you learn, right? Like it's yeah, there wasn't a lot of people tattooing when I first learned. So it was only me and one other woman in pretty much the whole of Wellington that was tattooing when I first started. So again, another thing that helped on my side was that I didn't have heaps of competition around me or anything at the time. So we had a lot of clients that we could do, which was really cool.
So what initially made you go from having this hair and beauty salon to being like, right, I actually want to go learn cosmetic tattooing and just do that?
My clients started asking me where to go to get their eyebrows done. So they were the ones that kind of started it, and I wanted mine done. I was actually obsessed with Sabina. I've already told Sabina this too. Like, I'm actually, when we chat now and I'm friends, like she was like my idol when I first started up. She's such an incredible artist, and I just started stalking her page, and I was like, I want to be like her. Like, her work is so friggin' amazing. And yeah, and that's when I sort of looked through her work and found out she got trained with Val. So I went and got trained with the same trainer as she did.
Yeah.
And obviously I learned eyeliner and lips and stuff at the time. Didn't really do much of them though back then. It was mainly eyebrows. Everyone wanted feather touch back then. Everyone, like, I microbladed people that shouldn't be microbladed, you know, like it was just like everyone got microblading. I didn't pick up my machine for like a whole year. It was literally like hair strokes on everyone, because back then no one wanted an ombre. The ombre and powder was very blocky back then, and no one liked the look of it. So it's not until this day and age where it's kind of flipped the opposite way round, and everyone's like, they know how beneficial machine work is for them. So a lot of people going, you know, are asking for machine now, and it's what you promote. The more feather touch you promote, you'll get the clients that want feather touch. If you're promoting machine work, then you'll get whatever you're promoting, so you'll attract that, you know. And when I first started, I enjoyed microblading because I knew like I could do it confidently. So I just did microblading all the time, and I didn't know as much as I do now, and that's because of further education as well. Like I've been through so much training from when I first started to now, that I've got myself way better educated too, and I know who should be getting what the minute they walk in my room, you know. So I'm giving people what they're actually needing now, as opposed to what I just felt comfortable doing.
But I guess as well, like, people come in, and it's one of those things about being confident in yourself as a business owner and an artist, to be able to say to people, like, I know that you want that, but you can't have it. Like,
totally.
Feather touch through everybody, and you know, you've got to have that kind of strength to be like, I know you want this.
For sure. And clients will boss you around.
100%.
Like, they don't care. They can be savage if they want something. It's you know. But I can be savage now too, and I won't do anything that I'm not comfortable doing anymore. It's not worth the money. It's not worth the headache from it. I would rather turn them around and say, sorry, I'm not the right artist for you, than do what they're wanting, and I know it's not suitable for them. And that's what I'm working at the moment with my team, as well, as especially with girls that are just starting out, they can really get bossed around by clients. And it is something that you gain with time and experience, and learning from your mistakes, because you've done a client that you shouldn't have done, or you've done, you know, a treatment on your client that you shouldn't have done on them, and then it's backfired, and they've come back and been like, oh, you never, you know, you gave me hair strokes, you shouldn't have given me hair strokes, now I've got none. You know, it's you just got to really have a tough backbone. But I think my clients I get in now are so amazing because they trust me before they're even there. Whereas when you first start off, those clients don't trust you at all. They know best, you know, they're coming to you and they're going to tell you exactly what you have to be doing.
What made you then decide to move back home? Like, because you had already established yourself as a business where you were, and then you decided to
so where I had originally opened was a little place called Altair, and it's beautiful, and it's a brand new suburb. It's about 45 minutes from where I am at the moment. Well, I live in Wainuiomata, so it's about a 45-minute drive from here. So we moved out there. My husband actually opened a cafe. We're the idiots that did a million things at once. We had a brand new baby. We also decided to open up a cafe at the same time. So I opened a hair and beauty salon. He opened a cafe upstairs, so in the same little block of shops. My husband's an amazing chef, so it was always a dream of his as well to have a cafe. We moved out there, but we're not from out there, and we just never really settled. It was always, like, for both of us, it was always work every day. We used to high five each other out the door. I would do the night shifts. During the weeks, I'd also do daytime as well. My mum and his mum would help out a lot with the kids. And me and Hayden would high five each other at the door, and he'd do, you know, early hours of the morning till 3 o'clock, and then I'd do 3 till 9 type thing. So we decided to close the cafe a few years, probably about 3 years in, I think, and just focus on one business, not two. And my hair and beauty salon at that stage was doing really well. I never shut my hair and beauty salon because it wasn't successful. I had such an awesome salon out there. Like I said, we were the only hair and beauty salon out there, so we had some amazing clients as well. The reason I closed it was because I looked, when Cosmetic tattooing took over me doing beauty therapy, I really just had this vision in mind that I wanted a clean, sterile environment. I wanted to just do tattooing. I was overwhelmed with clients. I was booked out for about a year. Like, it was the worst thing I'd ever done to myself. I don't know why I did it, but I did. I booked myself. I just kept booking and booking clients, and never thought for some crazy reason to be like, okay, I need to stop taking clients. And I ended up booking myself out for over a year, and I had no life. It was so stressful. I had all of these deposits on my back, you know, that I was living with, and it was crazy. I missed out on friends' weddings and all sorts. I wanted to have another girl working for me as well. So I wanted to have an apprentice and train someone up so that they were tattooing the same way as me. But when I opened up Feather Touch, the business is called Feather Touch Cosmetic Tattoo, and I opened it up as a separate business from the get-go, because I kind of had in mind that it might end up taking over my job, because I loved it. So I was fortunate that from the get-go I had established it as its own business, even though I was working and running it out of my hair and beauty salon, which was called House of Chic. And then once the tattooing sort of took over, I either had to close the hair and beauty salon and rebrand as Feather Touch, or I could sell the hair and beauty salon and go, set up somewhere else. And at the time, because it was only me tattooing, I just couldn't afford to, I had already had a business loan that I had originally had, that I opened up my salon with, that I was still paying off, because it costs a shitload of money to open up a hair and beauty salon, by the way. So I had kind of, I still had a massive business loan, and I just couldn't afford to, the time difference in between to set up a salon, where would I have worked from? I would have probably had to work from home. We looked at a couple of venues, and it just wasn't, at the time, financially viable to do. So we ended up just saying, fuck it, we're just going to close the hair and beauty salon, and I'm just going to rebrand the whole entire salon as Feather Touch. I had started training up a girl at the time as well, so there was 2 of us. I had it in my head that I wanted to have about 3 or 4 girls working for me as well, because obviously we're really busy, and I didn't want to be the only one working all the time, these massive long hours, just to cover all my outgoings. So I wanted to have, a few artists working there. So that's when I was like, nah, we just have to suck it up. I was pregnant with my twins at the time when we decided to do this, and we were living right next door to work. So that was a huge factor in the decision to close the hair and beauty salon as well, because I had the benefits of living right next door to my salon and having, these 2 little babies that I was going to have to try and work and juggle between my work and home life. I was going to obviously have a few months off work in between having the boys and going back to work, but knowing that I could go back and forth between my house and feed them and come back and know that they're right there with my husband, I felt more at ease about revamping my beauty salon into cosmetic tattooing and staying where we were, because I knew if I relocated there would be a travel distance to have to go to. So we were kind of in the perfect little situation out there. And then so long story short, it didn't work out with the girl that I had as an apprentice. I had to go back to work 2 weeks after giving birth. As everyone knows, unfortunately, I lost one of my sons. So that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my whole entire career.
So how did you, so obviously that happened, and you still had to carry your son for a while before you had to give birth. So you were obviously running a salon, you had a team member, you had a family, you've got your husband, and you're trying to grieve, but you're still having to work.
It was so messed up. It was just crazy. I don't even, it was just a blur. I remember just walking around. The only thing I can compare it to is feeling like a walking coffin. I was carrying around my little baby. All I wanted to do was get him out, and I couldn't, because if I had I would have lost my other son. And then at the same time, you don't want to let them go, because you know that you'll never have them again as well. So it was just an absolute mind screw. But I was just working my ass off, because I needed to have that 3 months off. I wanted 3 months off once I had them, just to grieve, enjoy my family, and know that the salon's going all good. So I was pumping everything into my apprentice at the time, making sure she was going to be able to be, okay by herself and have me work, because I was right across the road. So I was still able to walk back and forth and check on her. So I was training up her. I was doing as much clients as I could just to save up a bit of money so I could afford to have 3 months off as well and still keep my business going. And a few days before I gave birth, it was actually 2 days before, she ended in a notice. So I had to go back to work when my sons were 2 weeks old. I had no time to grieve, no time to mentally get my head around anything. It was just like, if I don't go back to work now, everything that I've worked so hard for, all the money that I've topped up my business loan so I can rebrand. Obviously that all costs so much as well. I had to reset my whole salon up as a clinic, not a hair and beauty salon. So it was fucking stressful, man. Like, I've never been under that kind of stress in my whole entire life. It was mental. But
at once, as well, you obviously have the stress, but then you're trying to grieve, and then you're being vulnerable because you're having to tell your clients what's
and it was really hard too. The biggest thing for me was I have to tell people online. Yeah. Because otherwise every single client was coming in and obviously asking how I was going and when the boys were due and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I literally just have to tell everyone online. I have to do a post about it.
Yeah. And there's nothing worse than when you don't want to talk about something and clients meet, but you've got 10 people coming in a day and you're having to speak about the exact same thing.
I know. And we found out on the 27th of December that we'd lost him, and I had to go back to work the next day because I had clients that flew up from the South Island to do, and there was nothing, I didn't have anyone else I could say, could you do them? There's just so many sacrifices you make as a business owner that you take for granted being, working for someone else. Yeah. I've never... Yeah, it's, you can call in sick if you're having a shitty day. I haven't had a sick day ever. I go to work with a fucking cold. I have a mask on. I've got it sucked under, you're shoving toilet paper up your nose. My clients don't care. They're like, I've been waiting months to see you. If you're wearing a mask, I'm there. So it's just
it does make it so much harder. I saw a post saying I love being a business owner. I get to choose which 16 hours a day I want to work. And it is because there's this perception that you have so much money and all these nice materials.
Oh my God, I know.
You're in hours, and it's realistically, not a lot of people live that way. A lot of people are working 12 hours a day just to...
Oh, for sure. And plus as well, I come home from working, my normal day, work shift. I come home, I've got Facebook messages from clients I need to check. I've got, Instagram messages, and I'm in control of that. I've got rebound messages now on Facebook, which have been amazing. So if people message now, they get a rebound message because most of them just want to know pricing or services anyway. But I still have to check them and make sure they're not any other, clients that have messaged or anything like that. I have to do all of my photos, upload my photos to make sure my social media is still running. I like to come on and be interactive every now and then with my following as well, because you gotta stay up to the play with everything, otherwise you get left behind. So my business is me selling myself so that my clients feel comfortable coming in to see me, because one thing I did really get from a client once is that she said to me, I was going to go to either you or another lady, but the reason I chose you is because I felt like I knew you.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I hadn't even thought of it like that at all. But that she was like, as weird as it sounds, I feel like I know you because I see your work, you're consistent, your photos are consistent all the time. I feel like I'm more comfortable with you, even though your guys' work might be on par. If I'm sharing a little bit of myself and my personality, people know that I'm not a dickhead. I
think that's the great thing about social media is that you can connect with people now without ever having to meet them. So, you get to know someone, and I think that definitely starts to either attract you to that, salon, or I guess I don't want to say repel, but you find somewhere else because you're like, actually, this is not my vibe. So
yeah, for sure.
Which is also great about finding your ideal clients, because then, you know, as a therapist as well, you're going to attract people that are similar to you, you know, so you already got something in common before they kind of step foot in the door.
Totally. You get that connection with social media, which is so cool that we're in that, you know, day and age that we can use this, especially for now. Like, you know, we're all on lockdown, like we can still connect, we can still chat. I've, you know, spoken to a lot of other cosmetic tattooists just to bounce ideas off them, to ask where they are at, where they're struggling. We need to realize in cosmetic tattooing industry as well is, don't look at other people as, you know, your competition. Like, you're just going to be lonely if you're going to look at everyone like they're, you know, there's so much bitchiness that goes on in our industry as well, and it's awful. And I think everyone just needs to really try and stick together, especially for times like this, because I've learned a lot of things that I can put in place for my business while we're shut down, that I've been told from other people, you know, and I've been given advice to do. So, it's definitely good to kind of stay connected, and if you're doing classes and training with people, get to know other people that are on your classes, and keep in touch with everyone, because there will be a time where you're going to need someone's support. And it's not always going to be, you know, your staff that you can turn to. You want to be able to turn to other business owners as well to get advice from them.
Yeah, and just like I think we're getting better in regards to competition. Like, I think we definitely may, but I know what you mean. I still feel like we've definitely got, you know, that bit further that we can go to start collaborating a lot more and stop seeing.
Oh, it's been so good. Like, from when I started, the first like 2 years was so friggin' lonely. Like, I had no one to talk to at all, and it was awful. And that, like, literally the last like year to 2 years have been amazing. Like, people are starting to realize that. I think trainers are starting to try and educate that side of it a lot to their students as well. And that's been good too, I think, for our industry as well, for sure.
I totally agree. We're definitely moving in a new direction. Even things like mindset, you know, like I see a lot of people now talking about that and incorporating that into their training and stuff as well. So it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for the future of beauty therapy.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, getting back to you had asked me a question before, and I sidetrack all the time, by the way.
Okay.
The reason I moved back out here was literally because my family live here, and my family support is huge with having my kids. So for me and Hayden, it got really lonely out in Aotea. We just never really settled, and my son got bigger, and I got to the point where I was like, you know, like I'm leaving him for longer periods. So if I have to drive 10 or 15 minutes to get to work, then I'll sacrifice us living right next door to work to being somewhere that we feel more happy in ourselves, because we actually both got a little bit depressed, to be honest, being out there. We were quite like far away from our group and our support system. So it was just like a no-brainer. We're like, we need to get home. And we were looking at buying the house that we were in that was right next door to work, and we were almost down to signing. And then my mum was like, you know, you can move home now. And I was like, no, I can't. I've got all this stuff at hand. She's like, you're not a hair and beauty salon anymore. Your clients aren't local. They're traveling to you from all around the country. Yeah. Doesn't matter where you were. And I was like, oh my God, it doesn't. Like, how did I not think of this?
Everything.
I know. I'm like, couldn't you have told me this like a few months ago? So it was just like a light bulb moment. I was like, oh my God, I literally could be anywhere now. So I had no staff at the time that were living out there anymore. Whereas when I was a hair and beauty salon, obviously all of my locals were there. And then when I was doing the tattooing out there, I also had just a couple of staff members that lived out there as well. So I wouldn't have even thought of moving. It was just not even on the cards. So once it was on the cards, we were like, out. Like, we're gone. So best move ever. Like, honestly, we are both like better mindsets, everything. Like, we just feel so much more comfortable being back home or back around our family, and we've got a lot more support here. So it takes me like 15 minutes to drive to work. Like I said, we've now got an academy right across the road. So it's just, best move.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you're home. Yeah, it would make it like, I don't have kids, but just running a business is hard enough. So I couldn't imagine then having kids as well and not really having any family around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my mum and Hayden's mum are absolute troopers. Like, they did used to drive out and help us, but I mean, it was a big ask, so we didn't like to take the piss either. So being out here, it's been, now Hayden's actually an at-home dad as well of our kids, so it's been a lot easier, and he can still catch up with his friends and our family over here as well, because literally he was at home 24/7 when we were out there. There was just, he never had visitors or anything, so it just like literally got a bit depressing. So yeah.
So what about as well, like, you are pretty open about having Crohn's disease?
Yes.
And so that attacks the immune system?
Yes.
So you get quite ill quite easily?
Yeah, so I'm on a drug called Humira, which is an injection. I take it every 2 weeks. I don't actually do it myself. My husband does it for me because it is so friggin' painful. So he gives me them, and it suppresses my immune system so it doesn't attack itself. But on the downside, it means that if I get sick, I get like really sick.
Yeah.
Because I've got no immune system to help, fight against whatever I've got. So at the moment, I've been a little bit naughty and actually taken myself off my drugs. I did contact my my doctor to find out what he thought, but I don't want to get this virus and have no immune system and bloody, be screwed. So I'm a little bit, that's been my biggest stress at the moment, is just trying to keep healthy, because I think, like, a lot of us are going to just get it, right? Like, it's, so if I do get it, I want to make sure that I don't have a lowered immune system, because I've been taking my Humira and have not much of a chance of fighting the virus. So I've got a meeting with him in like 2 weeks, and I know he's going to kick my ass because he's so staunch. So I know that I'm going to get in trouble for taking myself off this drug. But I'm like, hey, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So my Crohn's is probably going to flare the hell up now. But if it gets too bad, I mean, I'll get back on it. But I'm just, obviously just trying to do what I can to make sure if I do get the virus that I'm like all good.
I hope so. I mean, you guys are doing the right thing anyway. You're staying at home, so fingers crossed that you guys are.
And we've been getting delivery for like everything. So there's been like veggie boxes, meat boxes and stuff online. So we've just been literally ordering everything online or doing pickups. So we haven't been into a supermarket at all for the 2 weeks.
Good idea.
Yeah. Hayden's got some good connections with like meat and veg and stuff because he's a chefs.
That's lucky.
Yeah, been pretty lucky.
So what about, you did say that even though now that you're a trainer, you're obviously like quite booked out, you have your own salon, you have a training clinic across the road, you still have self-doubt.
Oh, for sure.
You still and critique them?
What's that, sorry?
You still take your photos home and critique them?
Yes. Like, I literally, every day I go home with my phone and I'm looking at like all the photos after work and critique the shit out of them. Like, one stroke might be off, or, like, I'm so friggin' fussy with my work, but you have to be, I feel like. That's what makes me get better, is by taking my work home. If I just done someone's brows and then let them go and didn't look back on my work later, then I might think, you might not notice the little mistakes that you might have made, or, something that you could have done better for that person, or, that you can help with the touch up on, or whatever. So yeah, for sure. I take my work home every night and I critique the shit out of it. I doubt myself all the time. But at the same time, I'm real like headstrong, where I'm like, I'm going to do it. I just got to put myself out there and do whatever as well. So I've got a bit of both sides to me. I'm a Gemini, so.
I think it's really good though to talk about that, because I think a lot of artists, obviously we all doubt ourselves at some level, but I think when we start to obviously look up to trainers like you, and like we admire your work and we think that, it's so perfect. And I think we almost have like a false idea about, how you guys have just like got your shit together and everything runs smooth. So it's really nice to hear, like, you know, still trainers saying like, no, like I take my work home, like I make mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of the time too is Instagram can be very deceiving for everyone, for influencers, for, you know, like you look at someone's page and they're going to give you the best, how many little squares you got on there that you can view out of their whole entire week, right? Yeah. They're not going to put a photo on there of them looking like shit because after they've just yelled at their kids, or, you know, like you're seeing the best snippets of everyone's life on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's the same with artists, it's the same with makeup artists, it's the same with nail techs, lash techs. Like we're posting our good work, you know, like we wouldn't post anything that you thought wasn't up to standard to be posting or anything. And obviously as you get better, you do start posting the majority of your work because your majority of your work is great. But when I first started, like there was a lot of times where I wouldn't post everything anyway, you know, and now I just don't have time to post every single client. But I try and post most of them. But yeah, there's definitely still days. There's still, sometimes I'll have like a whole day and at the end of it, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, I just can't get it today, you know? Like, I don't know what it is, but I do 100 million trillion % still have shit days for sure. And you just know that if they follow up, you're going to make them so much better. But I mean, that comes with experience and stuff too, you know, like I know if there's anything, whatever's wrong, I know it's such a minority that the client wouldn't even notice it, but it's me that notices it because I sit there and I pick out every little hair that's not sitting right, you know, or if my angles aren't the right way, like my before and afters have to be like a similar angle, and now I just take a shitload of photos so that I know I've got like the same angles going on.
I know, I do that too. But it's really good as well to critique your work after the first session, because then when they do come back, you can fix it. Or
it's good. It's good to take your work home. I always look at it for that purpose. Like, okay, do they look as even as they need to be? Or I mean, it's impossible to get your client's eyebrows symmetrical. There is no one's got symmetrical faces, so we're dealing with two sides that are completely different, and trying to make them look the same is impossible, but we want to make them look as close to it as we can. So bringing your work home, critiquing it yourself, you can write notes on your client's file that you might have picked up on a camera that you didn't pick up in face to face, because camera shows everything. When you're looking at someone's face, like you think you've got it, and then you take the photo home and you're like, what? How did I not see that, you know? So when I actually take clients, photos of clients, I do keep that in mind too. I'm like, if there's anything I've noticed, I'll write it on their file and see if it's, you know, if I need to change anything when they come back as well, because your appointment's not done in one session. The client's eyebrows are complete in 2 appointments. So I think people shouldn't be too hard on themselves either, because taking your work home and critiquing it is good. It's a good thing to do for yourself and for your business, to make sure that you're giving as best of a job as you possibly can as well.
Yeah. So, Cherie, you've got the salon and you've obviously got your girls working from that, and then you've got your training studio as well. So do you have any other big goals coming up for the future?
Yes, I am in the middle of opening an online shop. So at the moment we sell to all of our students, and I've got like lots of specific tools that I like using that I'm obsessed with. So we're actually now able to sell them to our students, which is really cool, but we've been doing it through email, which is a pain in the bloody ass. So I'm building a website so that not just my students can use it as well, like anyone can buy off it. Yeah. And I really want to do a bit of international training as well. Don't know what's going to happen with this virus thing, but I was planning on going to the Gold Coast and doing a class there, and one in Sydney as well. I've spoken to Georgie too. I think we were looking at maybe doing a class at her studio. She was meant to come and do a eyeliner, lips and removal class at ours in May. So we're looking at hopefully pushing that out to more towards the end of the year. So I think we're going to do like a switch over. She'll come here and I'll go over to hers. But yeah, I would love to do a bit of training, not just in New Zealand, like actually do some advanced training in other countries and see how that goes too.
That's so
That's
exciting.
my long-term goals. But also I want to do lots of training too. So if I can say go to the Gold Coast and learn like lips or something that I want to learn, then if I can collab with that person and potentially do a class while I'm there, like that's what I'm more about now, is just meeting people in the industry and just getting those connections and stuff as well. But as far as like my training goes, I would love to do a bit more international stuff as well. After doing the ATMAC last year, it's really kind of made me want to do a bit more overseas, especially in Aussie as well. I love Australia.
Yeah, well, we would obviously love to have you. Yeah, and I feel like, I know Australia and New Zealand's separate, but I always kind of see them as the same thing. Like there's so many Kiwis here and there's so many Aussies over there anyway, so. Yeah,
totally. Lots of people just assume that I'm from Aussie anyway. Exactly. I might as well go there and do some training, right?
And it would be good. Like there's so much to see in Australia too. You love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love Aussie. We try and go at least once a year anyway. So like being able to work it in, potentially with like a holiday with the kids and stuff as well would be cool, because that's one thing that I'm trying to learn to do a bit more of, this year, and just in general, is trying to get my work life, home life balance going a bit better, because that's one thing that I've always really struggled with when I was the only person working. Now I've got other staff members, I can sort of learn to take a bit of time off and enjoy those moments at home with my family, as well as still running a business as well, because doing the two, like it was really hard when Hayden was an at-home dad. Now he's an at-home dad. Changed our lives. Like it's been the best thing ever, but I miss out, it's the different shoes on different foot. Normally the dads miss out on a lot of time with their kids, but for me, having my own business, I miss out on heaps with my kids, and it is upsetting. So finding a bit more time outside of work to be with my family is definitely a huge goal of mine to be doing as well this year.
And I guess it's hard to take that hat off when you're like an entrepreneur. We obviously normally start on our own, and we're so used to doing everything all the time, and we just like live, breathe, the salon.
And I think too, because I have been let down by a lot of people, it did definitely create a guard for me, and I've still got that defense guard up a lot of the time as well, because I need to put myself, to be able to have myself in a situation that if it is only me, then I'm good, I'm okay, like it doesn't matter, and never be put in a situation where if it is only me, it's going to be hard and stressful. So a lot of it is very I think there's a lot of like glorified behind having your own business, and everyone thinks it's amazing, and it is. Like I absolutely love it. I wouldn't do anything else, but at the same time, I think people need to be open to the fact that it is hard work. We're not getting to the top straight away. Like I've been in business for 7 years. Like where I am now, I'm still nowhere near where I want to be, but people might look at where I am now and that's where they want to be right now. And it's just making sure that people are a bit more, realistic with their own lives and themselves, and realizing that it takes a whole shitload of hard work, a lot of friggin' money, a lot of time, a lot of effort to build your business. It doesn't just happen overnight. I've been tattooing for only 4 years, but I've been in business for about 7 now. So it's been, it hasn't been a year success or a 2-year success. And like I said, I'm still nowhere near where I want to be either. So I'm still growing and learning. And the people that I look up to become more and more amazing as well. And I feel like I'm chasing my tail too to try and be better. So people might look at me and think that I'm doing amazing, but I look at me and I'm like, I need to be doing better. Like what else can I be doing to be up to other people's levels? So it just depends on where you're at, and everyone just needs to look at themselves and not look at other people all the time, and like compare this success against their own success as well is a huge thing that I'm starting to just teach myself too, because I get down in the dumps sometimes when I look at like other accounts and these people that are doing amazing and they look like, you know, they've got it all. But like I said, at the end of the day, they're still just normal people too. And we're only showing this little clipper of photos, and it makes up your, you know, idea of that person, which might be completely opposite, you know. So
and a lot of people are not showing, like, you don't show your day-to-day struggles, like, you don't.
Oh God, no. I don't come online and I'm like, hey guys, so today I've just got this big ass bill that comes through and I don't know how I'm gonna pay for it, you know. Like, there's so much. Or like, I had a client in and she was horrendous, I don't know, like, you know, or like I mucked up or whatever. Like, you don't go online and show people that. So when it happens to yourself, you're like, oh my God, am I the only person that this shit happens to? And you know, start getting negative in that way. So it happens to all of us. We're all human. It's just part of having your own business and dealing with clients too. Like, you're working on so many different personalities, you know, so you've got to be a counselor. You've got, you know, like, there's so many different hats that we wear as business owners to make sure our business stays professional. And it's about just, you know, like, sometimes just rolling with clients that can be particularly hard and just letting them feel like they're, you know, doing what they want to do when really you're doing what you want to do on them, you know. So it's about managing clients as well as a huge part of our job too.
I think there's so many things like that come into being a business owner that you don't consider when you're an employee, when you're getting that beauty certificate and you're all excited to start your own salon. There's so many smack you in the face moments that you're like, I just have no idea what I'm doing. I
know. And like, and sometimes I even say to myself, what the fuck am I doing? I'm just going to go work for someone else. I'll rent a chair somewhere. I'll have none of this stress on my shoulders. And I'm like, no, Cherie, pull your head together. Like, you've worked too hard for this, get your butt back in there, you know. Multiple times where I've been like, screw this, I'm done. Like, you know, this is just so stressful. And I'm very lucky. My parents are really, really hard workers, and they've drilled into me like really good work ethic. And if I'm ever having a stress day, I ring my dad, and he's got like a contracting company, and I'll ring him or my mum and just like cry about whatever the hell's going on. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. What have I done? Like, I'm just gonna work for someone else. And my dad's like, pull your head in, get to work, like, sort your shit out. Like, he just snaps me out of it straight away. He's like, we'll all go through this, Cherie. Like, yeah, this happens to me too, you know, like, get over it, get your butt back to work, start making some money, do your clients, and you'll be fine.
Sometimes all you want to know is that, like, other people are going through this too.
Yeah, totally. And that's why I ring my parents too, and I vent the shit to them. Like, yeah, you're preaching to, you know, I do this all the time, Cherie. I know what you're going through. It's shit. But, you know, it's part of running your own business. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it, you know? Yeah. So he's always been like that. Don't do it then. And I'm like, well, no, because I want to do it. What are you saying? You know? So,
like, a friend called me like the other day, and she's like, okay, so I'm just going to quit and I'm going to go work at Audi. It's only $45,000 a year, but like, I can just come and like pack some people shopping and then my job's done. Like, we both know you're not going to do that. She's like, but how good would it be right now?
Oh, I know. I know.
The pressure is intense. It's so intense. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I love that it got like really vulnerable and in depth, and I hope, you know, I think a lot of people will be able to relate to it, which is really good.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I absolutely love having my own business too. Like, I just wanted to share with you that it's, you know, it's not all amazing as well. Like, there is hard times, and I think people just need to be aware of that as well. Like, it's normal to be feeling shit some days. It's normal to be having a bad week. And it's also like, but I also wouldn't change it for the friggin' world. I love my job. I love having my own salon, and I wouldn't be doing all of this if I didn't. So there's definitely pros and cons to every single job you have out there, right? So 100%. It's just managing it.
The grass always looks greener, you know, but
totally.
it never is.
For sure.
And yeah, I think, that's what I love about doing these podcasts and, interviewing you guys, is that people, just artists can feel like, oh yeah, okay, cool, this is normal.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
as well, you are offering a $500 giveaway to one of your trainings.
Yes.
Is that for any training, like brows,
Yeah.
eyeliner, lips?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I only do brow training. So I do beginners brows. I do advanced combination, advanced feather touch. I do beginners machine brows for girls that are just microblading and need to learn machine.
Yeah.
I do brow mapping classes as well, which it could be used towards. And then obviously the full beginners class as well. So all of our training's on our website though, but it can be used for any of our classes. Our brow mapping class is really cool too, because we go over a bit of business management too, and photo taking and sculpting as well. So teaching how I do like a brow sculpt too, and brow mapping for both feather touch and machine brows as well, because I do two completely different ways of mapping for those two. So you don't have to do the tattooing classes. The brow mapping classes are for anyone in the beauty industry that wants to learn how to do shaping.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much as well. That's amazing. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to win this. Damn it. So for everyone listening, you can go to my website, which is chelseavalentino.com/giveaways, and it will be up there once the podcast is released. I will also update our socials and stuff like that as well, so you can always check out Instagram. Apart from that, Cherie, is there anything else that you'd love everyone to know, or you think you've covered most of it?
I think we've covered most of it. Yeah. I mean, anyone's more than welcome to message me if they have questions about anything too. I'm always open to trying to help other people. No, it's been good. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks so much for coming on. I know how busy you are, especially with the kids and everything that's going on right now.
Well, I have a bit of downtime at the moment, so it's been good timing.
It was perfect. It was meant to be. Thanks again, and I hope you have a really good night. And keep in touch.
You too. Thanks, hun. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.